We are here in Denver, Colorado. We're covering CPAC Colorado. It's put on by the American Conservative Union. The head of such union, Al Cardenas. Good to see you, Mr. Cardenas.
Hey, great to be here. Great to have the NRA. As you know, we're partners in this venture of making sure people who uphold the Second Amendment, our constitutional values, get elected to public office.
Today here at your convention, Mitt Romney made an unannounced visit, and as they say in sports, the crowd went wild.
Yeah.
I would venture to say that maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, the conservative base wasn't as rallied around Mitt Romney as they are now. What did it take for him to finally solidify conservatives like who are here at this convention?
Yeah, what a great question. There's no doubt that we had a feisty primary. He was the victim of it as much as he was the beneficiary of it. But as we've listened to him in the campaign trail and talked about energy reform and tax reform and traditional value upholding, frankly, we've come to the conclusion that he fits a criteria. We checked our boxes, and he indeed has a conservative agenda to offer to American people, and so we're fully supportive because of it.
Give us a rating of the first debate here in Denver.
Well, it's a seminal moment for Mitt Romney. Frankly, I was a beneficiary of being close to the action, being in the spin room, and unlike any other presidential debate, post-debate I've ever seen, the other side took 15 minutes to get to the floor. The only ones there, credentialed there, were operatives of the Obama campaign, and their whole deal was that it was not a consequential event. People will forget the debate in a couple of days, and once they said that, then I knew they recognized they had lost and lost badly.
You know, of course, here in NRA News, we talk about the Second Amendment a lot, but it seems in our eyes that the First Amendment is under assault with this administration. When you look at the maker of that ridiculous movie on YouTube that offended the Muslims, you know, he's in jail in California, when in California they can't let people out fast enough. Do you see an assault on the First Amendment, and do you see that continuing in the second Obama administration?
Listen, when administration from the president to the Secretary of State on down start apologizing for the freedom of speech in America, I think we've got a problem. And people in our country need to understand that thousands of our men and women have died in order of upholding your right to speak your mind, whether you agree with it or not. And frankly, I've disagreed with a lot of people in my lifetime, but I give my life to uphold their right to do that. And so for this president and this Secretary of State to be giving away that freedom of speech to, frankly, foreign thugs in many cases is a concern. And obviously we didn't deal with foreign policy during last night's debate, but I hope when we get a chance, Mitt will talk about freedom of speech and American values as well.
Let's talk about Fast and Furious for a minute. You have a Hispanic background, you're of Cuban descent. People used to say you needed to look to the British press to get the real news. But it looks like Univision, of all places, has blown open this Fast and Furious story and really incited new interest in it and gotten people interested in it. Why do you think that is? Why did it take Univision, of all places, the mainstream media wouldn't touch it, but Univision really is doing an amazing job with Fast and Furious?
Yeah, what a great question. They actually were quite tough on the president too when he went down there and talked about immigration, and frankly they held him a task to us to the broken promises over the last 4 years. He loves politics and he loves to make promises, but there's a wide gap between the promises and the action, and so they took him a task for that, and they've taken him a task over Fast and Furious. And I'm still aghast that the mainstream media in this country has shown the bias to not bring out the things that we ought to concern about. That murder of our ambassador and former SEAL members and others in Libya has a lot of repercussions to it. You know, previous knowledge by administration of this insurrection and these problems, death threats we had received, bombings that had taken place, British ambassador under assault, things that our country has yet to hear about, but was under full knowledge of the Department of State. Heck, we even had our assassinated ambassador talk on Facebook about where he jogged and where he exercised. And this administration needs to come clean, not only on that, but many other things. Univision was right to talk about Fast and Furious, but there are about 20 more incidents on my list that require full vetting.
Let's stay on the Hispanic issue for a minute. I think we'll agree that Mitt Romney won't get the majority of Hispanic voters, but what does he need to get more of them?
Well, it's a big break basket that you got to throw the votes in. So, if he gets more seniors, or if he gets more undecideds, or if our turnout is better, gets him there. He went from a low floor of about 28%. He's in the low 30s now. If he gets to 37, 38, at least it gives us a base to build from. I think he's getting there. He's improved 4 or 5 points. The other side's done, unfortunately, a good job of demonizing Mitt with the Hispanic community. And frankly, I'm appalled at the ads that they've shown, and I said that on my speech today. They're character assassinations that shouldn't be welcome and appropriate public scrutiny, but mainstream media is our filter, and they just decide that they're not going to touch it.
Here in Colorado, of course, we're in a swing state. When you talk about, Mitt Romney went to Virginia today, another swing state. What needs to happen for Governor Romney to win these swing states?
Well, he's had a good week. We just announced, a poll here in Colorado taken by a very prestigious national firm where Mitt's now 4 points up before the debate, so I imagine it'll get better. We need Nevada to do the same thing. New Mexico needs to make it a little bit better coming back, but if he sweeps the mountain states, he's in pretty good shape. And so even if he falters in Ohio, which I hope is not the case, so mountain states are what I call our safety net. He wins here, he can afford to lose one of those big states, swing states, and still win the electoral votes required.
Last question, sir. You started the ACU started CPAC of Washington. Now you're breaking out. There was a CPAC Chicago. We're here at CPAC Denver. Does that mean that the strength of the conservative movement dictates that people want these events around the country? And what is the health of the conservative movement?
Look, our goal is for a conservative movement to be not only a unified, but a very structured entity in terms of having access to one another. Best place to do it is with our state ratings and with these regional conferences. We also went to Florida. We'll go to 2 or 3 places in the next year or so. And every time we go somewhere like here, we add 2,000-3,000 names to those activists who want to be part of the movement in a more formal way. So we provide them with that opportunity. We provide these forums. It's a great way to open the gates to the conservative movement and have folks come on in and be part of an infrastructure that not only will help in presidential elections, but in how we run the government. We want these activists to hold our elected officials' feet to the fire when it comes to protecting the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and all of our constitutional values. And talking about that, the one thing I want to mention, I was proud of Mitt when he had that Declaration of Independence behind him and he referred to our founding fathers and American exceptionalism and the values that we hold so dear.
Al Cardenas, chairman of the ACU, thanks for having us here and enjoy your successful event.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.